Hey guys, my name is Jerry, and I'd like to share my story about why I left my wife of 9 years for a Filipina woman. This was certainly not easy to do. I had a comfortable home in New Jersey. I had a good job as well. But life with my ex-wife was getting worse by the day. I'm simply here to share my story in hopes that other men and even women might better understand why so many Western men like me are leaving their wives and looking for love abroad. My ex-wife, who I will refer to as Carol, was my high school sweetheart. She was the girl who sat next to me in ninth grade, and after the first few days of getting to know each other, we became friends. She was cute and funny and very easy to talk to. We spent our time together between classes and during lunch. After school, we would hang out with other friends. After 4 or 5 months, we kissed for the first time. We went to the prom together. By the time we graduated, we were inseparable. We both went to college and married 4 years later. In the beginning, our marriage was great. Carol and I did lots of traveling together. We went to Rome and Paris. Physical intimacy was never an issue between us. In fact, she really enjoyed it and she was very experimental. So was I, so we really got on well together. At that time, I couldn't imagine life without her, but as time went on, things began to change. Carol's new career in advertising was very important to her. In the beginning, I was very proud of her. She began working more and more hours at the office. I thought that she was working hard to build a better future for us. We wanted kids someday, but that didn't happen. As the years went by, I started to feel like I was being pushed to the side by her career. She'd come home late, exhausted, and sometimes very grouchy. We hardly had dinner together. I had to start cooking for myself. Our conversations grew shorter. The wild times we used to have in bed together were not as exciting as they used to be. When we first got married, we had sex daily. Then it went from twice a month to once a month, and then maybe once every 6 months. Everything slowly went downhill for us. I realized that the woman I had fallen in love with became someone that I didn't really care for. And to make matters worse, Carol began working closely with a male co-worker who also worked late hours. I'd hear her mention his name often, and I had all these wild ideas about them going on inside my head. I began to wonder if they were having an affair with each other. Was she really staying late because of work? I finally confronted her about it, and she assured me there was nothing happening between them. She told me this man was happily married, but this didn't really make me feel any better about the situation. Men and women working alone together can grow close to each other, and often they end up cheating on their spouses. I really wanted to believe her, but the distance she put between us made it really hard not to let those doubts creep in. Even if she truly wasn't cheating on me, I felt like I'd already lost her. I truly wasn't happy spending my evenings alone at home. She'd come home late with takeout for herself that she picked up on the way home, and we barely talked to each other before she went to bed. I felt like a stranger to her in my own home. Still, I tried to convince myself that things would get better between us. I hoped that one day soon she would wake up and see how far apart we'd drifted, but it became more and more evident that this wasn't going to happen. I knew I had to change my life.
Hey guys, I just wanted to jump in here for a minute to ask all of you to do me a big favor by hitting the like button. Liking and subscribing really helps me out so much, and I really appreciate all of your support. Okay, now let's get back to Jerry's story.
One evening, I was waiting for Carol to come home. I had a little surprise for her. She barely looked at me as she walked in the door, exhausted, and barely said hello to me. I had been sitting in the family room, waiting for her to finally get home. She had no idea that I was holding divorce papers in my hands. When I handed them to her, the look on her face was shocking. I'll never forget the expression on her face that night. She began crying and asked me why I was doing this to her and why I was giving up on our relationship. I told her the truth. I couldn't live my life like this anymore. I felt lonely, neglected, and unloved. I told her about my suspicions regarding her coworker and how much her lack of attention and care had hurt me. I let her know that she made me fall out of love with her. Carol broke down and begged me to reconsider. She said she would cut back on her hours and spend more time with me. She would try really hard to make things right between us. If she had said those things to me years earlier, I would have stayed with her. But by this point, it was too late. The damage had been done. I was not interested in being with her anymore. I shocked her again by telling her I was selling everything off and moving to the Philippines. She was totally stunned. She couldn't understand why I'd do something so crazy like this. But for me, it made sense. I needed a fresh start, far away from the loneliness that she inflicted upon me for the last several years. 7 months later, our divorce was finalized. We sold everything and split the assets. I packed my bags and flew to Manila, Philippines. I had started corresponding with several Filipina women online. One of the Filipina ladies I was writing to really stood out to me. Her name was Gwyneth, and she was 22 years old. I was hesitant about the age gap at first. I was 36, so there was a 14-year age difference between us. But Gwyneth's kindness and warmth quickly put me at ease. She seemed to be very mature for her age as well. When I finally arrived in the Philippines, Gwyneth and I met in person, and everything clicked. Within a couple of weeks, we traveled to Cebu City together. We had a really good time together, but I just didn't feel the magic with her. We went back to Manila and parted ways. I dated another Filipina woman I was corresponding with. Her name was Helen, and she was a stunning 27-year-old. I couldn't believe how beautiful she was. I spent a couple of weeks with her, and she was wild. She liked to experiment like my ex-wife Carol did back in the day, so Helen and I had lots of fun together during our private moments together. But I didn't feel that spark with her that I was hoping for. She was an amazing young lady, but I wanted to take my time and date several women. I dated different women for about 3 months, and I finally found a woman named Paula who was 23. She had a job, and she also had a very small studio apartment. We hit it off and really had a great time together. I felt a spark with her, so I asked her if she would like to move in together, and she was really excited about doing this. We've been living together for several months, and I have to tell you, the difference between her and Carol is night and day. Paula works 4 hours a day and comes home and spends time with me. Sometimes we will go out for a couple of hours and see different places and get dinner somewhere if we find an interesting place to eat. She also likes to cook and prepares really nice traditional Filipino food. I'm learning so much about Filipino culture with her. She even asks me at night if I want a massage before bedtime, and I give in without a fight. Right now, I am living in heaven on earth with Paula. I know it's still early in our relationship, but I am willing to take a chance with her. She's beautiful both on the inside and the outside. I know some people might judge me for leaving my wife for a younger woman, but I don't see it that way. Yes, Carol wanted to try to make things work, but there was too much damage done. I needed adventure in my life, and I needed someone who was way more caring than Carol. Filipina women, like many other Asian women, are raised with traditional values. They put their relationship and family first, and they take pride in creating a loving home. These are qualities that many Western women have forgotten. Don't get me wrong, not all Asian women are this way, but a good majority of them have been raised with good family values. Western women today have gotten caught up in the idea of independence. They think it's cool to be a feminist. Many will put their careers first, and then they'll put their men somewhere else down the list. They don't know how to be in traditional male-female relationships. They are influenced by the culture that tells them it's okay to dress and act like a man. This is why men like me are turning to women from countries like the Philippines, Vietnam, Cambodia, and Thailand. Filipino women possess qualities that Western men still value. They are feminine, warm, and have a deep appreciation for their men. They don't see relationships with men as a competition. If I could offer one piece of advice to Western women, it's this. Don't take your husbands for granted. Don't think that just because they've been with you for years that they'll stick around no matter how badly you treat them. Men want to feel loved, needed, and respected just like women do. Today, I'm happier than I've been in years. Paula and I are enjoying living together in Cebu City. I finally feel like I'm part of a relationship where we both make sure that each other is happy and feels loved. To the men out there who are considering retiring in the Philippines, I say go for it. Don't let life hold you back. Moving to the Philippines was the best thing I have ever done for myself. The cost of living in the Philippines seems to be cheaper than most Asian countries. I hear that Vietnam is also pretty cheap to live in. I've learned that if your wife isn't taking care of you at home, there's no shame in looking elsewhere. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it helps others understand why so many men like me are looking for relationships with Asian women.
Okay guys, thank you for watching today. I would like to thank Jerry for sharing his story with us. Do any of you guys have a story about a Filipina woman that you would like to share with us today? I'd really like to hear all of your comments and opinions in the comment section. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and share. It really helps my channel so much. Until next time, take care, and I hope to see you all again soon.